HMC Magic 95.9 FM. Goliath, Victoria.
The Wade and Carter Show is a paid program, and KHMC Magic 95 assumes no responsibility for its content, and the Wade and Carter Show bears all responsibilities for their audience and guests.
Justice Barrett is confirmed. Kamala Harris already spinning it. Monday Night Football was a yawner. Dodgers can win the World Series tonight. All that and more coming up on today's Wade and Carter Show.
Now, before we do this, let's go over the ground rules. Rule number 1, no touching of the hair or face. And that's it. Now let's do this.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
How are you on this chilly Tuesday, October 27th, 2020?
You know, Ash, I believe that Victorians are resilient people. I believe we will rally, and with some federal assistance, we will rebuild.
Well, I don't know that a state of emergency has been declared yet.
I'm prayerful. I'm imploring our governor, our local leaders, to lay out the winter of 2020 storm. It's not a named storm.
Well, might be on the Weather Channel. Never know.
We need federal funding. We need accountability. We need a Biden put in charge of this. We need one of Joe's children down here.
To sponge off the get. We'll get to that.
They could give him tens of millions of dollars to solve the problems
of global cooling this morning. Yeah. Let's do this.
All humor aside, we thought it was funny. Don't know if y'all thought it was funny. 48 degrees in Victoria. The weather brought to you by the great folks at Deerland Feed. 48 heading to a high today of only 64 under cloudy skies with a chance of showers. 48 to 64. It's going to feel like this most of the day. Take your sweater.
It's going to feel like this most of the week, believe it or not.
Dress your kids in a hoodie. Get ready for the winter of 2020.
It's here. It's here, folks.
It'll last until about next Tuesday. I don't know when this front's over. Apparently Dalhart, you always hear Dalhart. It froze in Dalhart. Like Dalhart must be like on the southern tip of Colorado.
Pretty much is, isn't it?
Yeah. But I'm like, everything west of 281 was under a freeze advisory.
Really?
Yeah. It's cold. It's cold, man.
Let's go. Judge Posey, good morning. Marvin Mickish, Justin Glass, Randy Langston, Lisa Poole. C. Veg is in. Good morning to you, Charlie.
Morning, Judge.
Matt Boucher, good morning. Bobby Leister, 365 YouTubers. We're blowing and going on YouTube.
We're kind of a big deal now. It's a big deal, the show.
Yeah, morning to the YouTubers. I think they come in later in the day.
Sure. Did you
because they're not watching live. I mean, we've got one.
Did you hear about our friend Chris Jansen?
No.
Got hurt. Got pinned somehow by a cow.
No, I did not hear that.
Yes, he did some hospital time. I'm not violating any HIPAA here, but I think he is home now. I think he's resting. I know he listens. And Chris, thoughts to you, Ed?
Yeah, for sure. Well. I hope you get well soon.
Yeah, I think he broke a hip. I may just made that up, but I know he was hurt.
Wow, you do that every morning.
Yeah, that's what I do. He was hurt enough that he'd be in the hospital, and now he's at home.
Well, good. Glad he's home.
Yep.
Natalie Mayer checking in. CW Bean, David Glass, Larry Leahy, H.R. Mallory. Larry says 34 in Tulsa this morning.
There you go.
Sheriff Lauterbach, good morning. Rob Moore Knipling.
By the time I get to Tulsa, she'll be frigid.
Chris Conrad, good morning. Good day, eh?
Hey.
Kick off, eh? Scott Snow says good morning. Scott Tomko's in.
Take off, eh? Did any of that happen in Canada?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Did y'all talk about takeoff?
Oh, yeah.
So takeoff, Getty Lee in the background.
And I'll be honest, my recollection, waning a little bit, given that was, 30, 40 years ago. I'm not sure if Takeoff A became more popular or was a phrase coined by Bob and Doug, or if Canadians were actually saying it and they just jumped on the bandwagon with it. And took it to where it is. Steve Kidder says it's Storm Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Exactly. Catherine has a C in it.
Patrick Strauss, good morning. James Kurth. Peter McNally says Amarillo is 18 degrees this morning.
Meaningless trivia brought in by Pete. Thank you, sir.
Natalie Meyer says he did. I think break a hip.
Yeah.
I think that's his sister.
Yes.
If I remember correctly.
18 in where? Tulsa, is that what you said?
Yeah, Amarillo.
Amarillo.
Yeah, 34 in Tulsa.
No, Pete's not in Amarillo.
No, he's in Beaumont area.
He's just like scanning the internet to let us know.
He's listening to his NOAA weather radio.
Right.
One of those hand crank ones that also has a flashlight on it. So, in time of emergency,
exactly.
He's prepared. Bob Watley, good morning, Bobcat.
Hello, Bobcat.
Where to start? Yonder on Monday Night Football. Brad Miner was in yesterday bragging about his Bears being 5-1 and that they were going to roll over the Rams yesterday, and they got beat. They returned a fumble for a touchdown. That was about the only exciting play of the game. A couple long passes, but again, it's just a Monday night yawner.
Sam Bradford?
No, Jared Goff and
that's right.
Nick Foles, 2 quarterbacks. But
NFL careers go by pretty quick, don't they?
Yeah, I had it on.
Which dog was in your lap?
Well, it was a 3-hour game, so I had Stanley at one point, Tripp at one point, Graydon, who now calls Bella Beautiful Bella, and Bella Dose.
I mean, you're going through lap mates like Wilt Chamberlain.
I was.
Very few have your
like Trump has gone through Supreme Court justices.
Right. Congratulations to Amy Coney Barrett yesterday, finally confirmed 52-48.
She's going to hear that.
Yeah, Amy, way to go, gal. Who does the laundry at your house? Dumbest question anybody ever asked her.
Yeah,
asked by a Republican, by the way, just trying to make conversation with her. I think if anything,
who asked that question?
John Kennedy. No, John Kennedy from Louisiana.
Yeah.
You're surprised I knew the answer.
I didn't know the answer.
I did.
I thought you were making stuff up.
No, sir.
Yeah.
52-48.
Yeah, one Republican senator in Maine decided to go against the grain. I'm sure trying to save her Senate seat this coming election. So she wanted to seem more like, I guess, a moderate than a Republican.
So my lovely bride, who stays out of politics, and I respect her for it. We really don't talk politics at the house, but I observe, I listen to her. And T-Lat sent this to me. Here's a quote. It was on ABC. I'll give it credibility because ABC is liberal and Kamala Harris is liberal. And here's the quote. And I want you to listen to all the supposition and the fear-mongering and the garbage that is in this one sentence. Today, Republicans denied the will of the American people by confirming a Supreme Court justice through an illegitimate process.
Let's stop right there.
Yeah.
Because I think this thing needs to be broken down and dissected as we go. There was no illegitimate process.
Yeah.
In fact, I believe it was Justice John Stevens who was confirmed in 19 days back in the 70s.
Right. Nobody ever this close to an election. Nobody, I get all the superlatives, but hats off to Donald Trump for governing for the full 4 years. I mean, his term's not over until January.
Here's the other thing that really bothers me with the way that the left has spun this. And they're doing this so that if Joe Biden wins, they can do what they want to do. They're calling this packing the court. For the last 100 and whatever years, Stephen Kidder probably can tell me, 150, I think is the number I've heard. We've had 9 Supreme Court justices, right?
Right. There's no reason to have 10, 11, 12, 13. There's no reason.
Well, they never had 10.
No, they were talking about having 13.
Yeah, well, that's where Joe Biden wants to go, so he can put 6. Or, actually, I think I heard 50. He wants to put 6 on.
Why would one president come in there and go, okay, I'll just put the next 6 on? Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton. Why would you do that?
And where does it end? And the next one comes in, puts 6 more, you got 21. I mean,
it's just
soon we're going to have one Supreme Court justice for every state in America.
So listen to the comment and then we'll dissect.
But how is that an illegitimate process to
Not.
begin with? It's not. And he didn't pack the court, which is the way that the left and the Democrats are starting to frame this. They've been calling this court packing since he made the announcement. It's not court packing. There's 9, there's 8. Ruth Bader Ginsburg passes away, dies. She didn't decide to die. She died.
She took a poll. She died.
Yeah. So you have 9. He's not packing the court. He's filling the vacancy that he's constitutionally mandated to do.
100%. And go above Pete McNally and see who made the comment, because it's a great statement. One more right there. Ralph Langston says, Randy Langston, his younger brother, Randy. Schumer was making threats to Republicans and us as citizens before the confirmation. So listen to the next part of this. Today, Republicans denied the will of the American people by confirming Supreme Court justice to an illegitimate process, all in their effort to gut the Affordable Care Act and strip health care from millions with existing conditions. We won't forget this, is what Kamala Harris said. What nobody seems to remember is it's not as if the Affordable Care Act came in and gave health benefits to everybody on the planet and nobody in the country had health insurance before that. It's not like people were destitute without health insurance.
No.
And the government came in and bailed them out. It was estimated that 25 million American people out of 325 million didn't have health benefits. I remember hearing a knowledgeable gentleman at the time from the medical profession say the cheapest thing to do is just give those 25 million people a Blue Cross Blue Shield card and send the bill to the government. Let the government buy those people health insurance and leave the system alone. But no, the government knows best about how to take care of you. So we're going to revamp it for everybody, make it mandatory for everybody, fine businesses a tax based on your health benefits. Fine businesses that don't adhere, and the prices go through the roof. The portal didn't work. The website was a bomb. The doctors hate the system.
Well, and if I recall, when they upheld the individual mandate, which is now what the court is going to look at, because there were the fines in place if you didn't have insurance, right? And the court upheld that as a taxing right under the Constitution.
Right.
I'm surmising here, but that's basically what they said in a long, probably 100-page brief with a
So
dissent and an
I don't
opinion.
believe she's going to do anything to gut the Affordable Care Act. Pete McNally says it's the timing of the appointment that riles so many. My comment to that is the country is, in theory, going on into infinitum. The last day of Trump's term is no more or less important than the first day. You'll recall that Barack Obama issued hundreds of pardons,
as has pretty much every president on their last day. So why? I see where you're going, because I was going to make the same point.
What's the difference?
What's the difference?
Why not? He governed until the end. It's the timing of the pardons that make me a little upset.
So when does the timing matter, Peter? And I'm not asking. I'm just phrasing the question. But
Well, here's the deal.
So if this would have happened last January, would the argument have been, he's in his last year. He can't make a move.
He's been impeached. How can he nominate anybody to the Supreme Court?
Yeah.
That was the deal.
Okay, say he hadn't been impeached. Well, he's in his last year of his term. How can he make a move this important in the last year of your term?
Yeah,
you just keep backing it up to fit your framework and your viewpoint.
Correct. It's what it is like we said yesterday. Well, we can't play the Redskins right now. We don't have Dak Prescott. It's not fair. It hurts my feelers.
Well, you can't play the Redskins anymore anyway because of the Washington football team.
Right. So my point is, if you look backwards at it, he did exactly what, it's like he said, elections have consequences. We won. Ruth Ginsburg died. We get to replace her. That's the way the system works.
Well,
when it benefits the Democrats, they've got no problem with it. When it doesn't, they whine about it incessantly.
And a great case in point, he's not doing anything to help with the CARES Act. Well, if you want him to stop governing on this, Why should he continue to govern on that?
Right.
I mean, you either do your job till the end or you don't do your job to the end. You can't
Correct.
pick and choose which battles, which issues he continues to govern over and which ones he doesn't. He has a job to do. He was elected to be president for 4 years. How do you start picking and choosing because it doesn't align with the Democrats' political ambitions and agenda?
I'll tell you this. The other thing is that guy, for better or worse, Donald Trump is so arrogant, he's not even contemplating not winning. In his mind, let's get this off our list. Let's get Coney Barrett in there and let's roll on down the road because he thinks in January he's getting sworn in again.
H.R. Mallory says Republicans also didn't forget the Dems made confirmation votes a simple majority.
Yeah, thanks.
Although I don't, doing a little research on that, I know he did, but I don't know. There's some gray area there. I don't know that a 60 vote majority needed to be had to confirm. It does in a few other areas, but I don't know if this was one of them. I think
I'm not convinced it wasn't always simple majority, but it is a rare and glorious thing to appoint a Supreme Court justice. And if Congress decides someday that no president shall appoint more than 2 in any one term, fine, then make the rule and go on.
But it's interesting how
they couldn't do it until the next one. Yeah.
How many Democrats were asking Ruth Bader Ginsburg to step down during Obama's term so he could appoint her replacement?
And you know what? That's on her as well. She overstayed her time in the court. There's no getting around it. The woman was on life support one way or the other for the last 2 or 3 years. Every time you turn around, she was missing a vote. She was missing, bless her heart, she was old.
And sick.
I can't confirm she was missing votes, but I think there were times that she wasn't in the court.
Richard King says if she would have retired under the Obama president, then Obama could have appointed one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? I don't know who President Obama appointed, but it's not like they put some raging liberal idiot on the court. You've seen the process. I'm telling you, this Amy Coney Barrett lady is not just some Trump thumper out there. This is a very intelligent person that I have complete confidence is going to exercise.
Well, I think what scares the left, what do they call her? An originalist, right? Or something like that? Isn't that a term they use?
She believes the Constitution as written, and they don't like that. They think it's a living, breathing document that morphs over time, that the Founding Fathers didn't mean that you have the right to bear arms because they didn't know what an AR-15 was.
Jennifer Caslow, good morning in Seattle, pointed out that Ilhan Omar called it a radical stacked court or something like that. Says the radical herself. Takes a radical to know a radical, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she was all over Twitter yesterday talking about. I think she called this a sham.
Did she call it a mockery?
She didn't call it a mockery. She called it a sham, but
chicanery.
Kind of like her marriage to her brother. Wouldn't that be a sham?
Is that Ilhan?
Yeah.
Is Ilhan Omar up for re-election?
Yeah, I think somebody's running against her.
I sent Ricky De La Fuente a note yesterday on Facebook and said, hey, you give us a call anytime I get a number. Give us a call, and we will drop whatever we're doing and talk to you about your campaign. I reached out to the Democratic challenger, the embarrassment that is the challenger against Michael Cloud, and we'll see if he has the chutzpah to call. I'll tell you who did answer the call. I'm not going to tell you who it is yet.
Who's that? Well, you can't tell me.
So. Can't tell you exactly who it is, but on Thursday, we're going to have someone. I put the challenge out the other day. Our Democratic leadership in this community, of course, there's only about 8 of them, but the leadership is so poor, so weak, the highest parts of the party, that I reached out to an individual who I know happens to be a Democrat, who I respect. I like him as a person. We have great banter. And I've invited him to come on Thursday. And I just said, I just want to pose the question, why Biden? Not, Dawn just said hi. Hi, sweetheart.
Steve Kidder says that the Twin Towers were dropped in late October. Should a president wait until the results of the election to retaliate?
What did she say up there? Because I just missed it. It's so small. Oh, I agree. T-Lad says it's because it's Trump. They don't see past that. I agree 100%.
Oh, yeah.
If it was anybody else, if it was Biden, though, if it was Obama who had made this appointment, I just don't believe that the Republicans would just be so loony and just pee in their pants. And
Yeah, Lindsey Graham might.
right, there's a handful, but one comes to mind. Not the party leadership,
No.
not Kamala Harris. Mike Pence wouldn't be whining. They're good. Everything. When you watch these two rallies, and I'll get back to my Democrat in a second. When you watch these two rallies the other day, Trump's talking about the GNP is going up. We've done this, we've done that, we've got this in the works. And he tells you specific things, times, dates, and what's going on. And then you switch over to Biden. And I'm telling you, folks, there's like 4 people there. I'm not exaggerating. There's nobody there. And Biden's going, he's coming for you. He's going to take your health care. He's going to raise your taxes. He's going to take away your services. Donald Trump is bad. He's coming for you. He doesn't tell you what he's going to do. He doesn't tell you how his administration is going to make it better.
He doesn't even tell you how Donald Trump's going to take these things he says he's going to take from you.
He just promotes fear, and he's preaching to the lowest common denominator, which unfortunately is the ignorant half of our country. The half of our country that the Democrats want to take care of, to a degree, they do need to be taken care of because they're not free-thinking people that are looking past the man to the method. Joe Biden is offering you nothing. So that is why I'm having my friend come in and with you will be amazed, absolute respect, we'll give him the forum and say, why Biden? Now, when he starts telling me because Trump this, stop there. Why Biden? We're going to focus on why Biden. We're not going to focus on, well, because Trump. No. We already know about Trump. We know he's a womanizer. We know he's not that smart. We know he exaggerates. We get all that. Why Biden? Give me the alternative. If you're telling me that in a country of 325 million people, the best person you can put up there to beat an incumbent president is a stuttering Scranton boy with criminal family background.
We're going to get into that too.
Come on. That's the best you've got. You deserve to lose.
Peter McNally says they blocked Obama's appointment of a moderate, Merrick Garland, right? They didn't even go to the nomination process. And
the Dems got even by just obliterating the life of Brett Kavanaugh. God bless Brett Kavanaugh.
Well, so and then impeaching the president on fake charges and everything else.
Absolutely.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing with this, Peter. He wasn't going to be appointed or nominated by the Senate. If they would have gone ahead with the process, and they probably should have, but here's how the Dems would have spun it. That was a waste of taxpayer money. We knew the outcome. It was never going to change. Right. Why did we waste all that time and money when they could have been doing something else that meant something to the American people?
Right.
That's exactly how it would have been spun because they knew, and Obama knew, there was no chance he was getting through the Senate confirmation process.
Correct.
So they don't even take that step. And now you can play the woeful victim again on the left, which you would have played regardless of how this would have played out.
There is no doubt. There is no getting around the observable fact that the Democratic Party of today is a party of victims. It is. I listened to Limbaugh yesterday. Of course, Peter McNally, just like he just puckered up. I said Rush Limbaugh. But Rush Limbaugh said there was a time when Republicans and Democrats both wanted the same outcome for the American people. Both parties deeply desired a successful, prosperous American populace. They just thought there were different ways to get there. The Republicans thought that was through the economy, through tax cuts, through trickle down, even if it was a flawed thought. The Democrats thought it was through social services and a hand out and a hand up and equaling the playing field. And these are all good things. It's all good things. The two parties don't want the same thing anymore. The Republicans want, in that same stereotypical comment, Republicans want populist autonomy, the rights of the people, leaning a little bit closer to being libertarian. And the Democrats want governmental control, governmental assistance, to the point of being almost as far left as being a socialist. It's just where we are as a country. It will adjust. When Trump wins this race, you'll never hear from Bernie Sanders again. Bernie Sanders was like one click too far. Okay, you'll never hear from Joe Biden again because he's going to be 80-something in the next election. The idea that these young people, these Gen Xers and beyond, the idea that they're enamored with the politics of a 47-year failed public servant with,
well, let's be honest, he's not that failed. He's managed to be reelected for 47 years.
that
and
just
be
shows
vice
the
president for 8.
stupidity of
Vermont?
his people.
Wow.
Yes. But
Isn't
you look
it?
at
Or
it,
no, Delaware, close enough.
but look at it. You know, Delaware, you got to be from a nowhere state. Tell me what Delaware is known for. Nothing.
Tax havens
Nothing.
for corporations.
Yep.
Who's been leading that state for 47 years?
Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Guess who made a cut off of it? Joe Biden. But you know what? What if he could get, I mean, I guarantee you Coach O is a Republican. Joe Biden. You can see Coach O talking about Joe Biden. Joe Biden, go Tigers. Coach O could do it.
James Kerr says he'd take Bernie over Biden. At least he isn't a liar like Joe.
Boy, that's really stretching it. That's like
Yeah.
Weekend at Bernie's. Or,
If that's the only reason,
yeah. But we're going to have a friend come in on Thursday, and trust me, he listens every day. I walked out of here yesterday. Ring, I heard you talking about me. Yeah, come on. It's going to be fun.
it will be. Glad he's coming in.
How about that World Series, Michael Jolly, tonight? Game 6. Dodgers can close it out 3-2 Dodgers.
Tampa Bay needs Allen's Ricker service. Pull that back on the winning track.
578-6300. Call Allen's Record Service. I saw Alan Moe yesterday.
Did you?
I went by. Yeah, he's looking at my Blazer for me. Said, give me $50 for it if you'll come haul it off. 578-6300. Call Allen's Record Service with all your towing needs.
I'll haul it away, and you got to pay me to take it off your
Right.
hands. Yeah.
Right. Kind of reminds me of my first wife. 578-6300. Allen's Record Service. The VCS Company's Rocket Oilfield Services and the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer, all part of the Hartman Communication empire, from surveillance to security to surround sound to home link gates to pipeline maintenance, right-of-way maintenance, pad sites, whatever you need. In general, if you don't know, if you've got a project coming up, call us and we'll tell you how to get in touch with VCS. They're right there on Kerr Boulevard, inside the loop, right off of Main Street.
87.
Chestnut Furniture Company, 100 years in downtown Victoria,
116 West One Lynn. You stay on Main all the way downtown, hang it right on One Lynn, you're right there.
Quarter One Linden Bridge, right across from City Hall, right across from the police station. Go down and see Bobby Leon. Tell him that Wade and Carter
Was there before either of those buildings were there.
50% off all furniture as they celebrate 100 years. They've got bedding, folks. Tempur-Pedic bedding, televisions, washers, dryers.
Accoutrement.
Oh, thank you for letting me catch your breath. Freezers, refrigerators, art. Get by. You'll be very, very pleased with the offerings at Chesney Furniture. Kershaw proving himself with all the Ks. Yes, no doubt, Michael. Kershaw had been known as a guy who was cursed in the playoffs. Seems to have righted that ship.
Still doesn't want a ring.
No. Okay,
And likely won't pitch again, so he may not.
I talked to JP Hull of Razor IT Solutions yesterday. He was busy, but he also said that in the evenings watching the games, he said, as a baseball fan, what a great World Series this has been. Great defense,
it really has.
great teamwork. And he asked the question that you and I never. Tell me the guy's name. Zemmaruna, Aruzazima,
Arozarena.
the tight end,
Randy Arozarena.
Yeah, the tight end.
Yeah.
He was he a shortstop.
Oh, I think he's left field.
Okay.
Right fielder somewhere in the outfield.
JP asked the obvious question. You'll go, yeah, duh.
He's our Cuban rookie. What was who's our guy that was on the shelf this year?
No,
Plays
Jordan Alvarez.
Jordan Alvarez. Yeah, he's there. Jordan Alvarez.
So he said, yeah, but he's a better fielder.
He is a better
So
fielder.
he said, why did we keep pitching to that guy? Why you want to challenge that guy when all he's done is knock the cover off the ball the entire postseason?
That's what I've asked. That's what I asked the entire series. But
there you go. Catch up real quick, folks. Veracruz today for lunch. It's Tuesday. It's pre-Caldo Wednesday. Today's a great day to get in there. I'll tell you, they were out of town all last week. They might have had a few kinks in the kitchen yesterday, but they were worked out by today.
nah,
I'm sure it was perfect. Get by there for the guac, queso, flour tortillas, corn tortillas. They're special. You can get your beef. Now, T-Lat turned me on to this. You can get a beef, say a taco al carbon with like fajita meat on that, on a flour tortilla. I can get chicken fajita on a corn tortilla. Cut your calories by about 2/3.
really.
Oh, yeah. Take all the fat out of it. I'm eating chicken. I'm eating a corn tortilla. Bam! Back on the road. In and out in under an hour. In and out, roughly $10. I had a serious conversation with Ida. She talked about that it's difficult. You're trying to balance the COVID requirements. You're trying to balance you're making sure your food quality stays exactly where you want it. And you're trying not to raise prices. And I was impressed at how heartfelt and sincere she was. Like, it's tough. It's tough. We know that we have families that rely on us. We know that people are part of our family. And she said it's certainly not about greed she said God's been good to us. It's not about making money. It's about surviving. And I just was so touched by the sense of place, the understanding that what they do is a part of the fabric of this community. Veracruz is a great option for your next catering. They're extremely fair, and the food is extremely fresh and wonderful. Reach out to Veracruz. Every chance you get, folks, they are a treasure to this community.
Call this morning and grab an enchilada casserole. You'll have enough for a couple of days to get through this winter of 2020. Then you can rebuild on the other side of it.
Give them a heads up.
Yep. So
we're 32 after the hour, 28 minutes left. It's almost 9:45 in Newfoundland.
Almost. There's my brother Corky checking in.
Hi,
Court. Water on the moon, is that what we're hearing? This is like old news, new news again?
Unbelievable. NASA gets the nerd factor at the federal government level is just amazing. And NASA got all excited. I want you to know, we look at the moon all the time, right? It's right there. Okay, we've been there in theory.
More over there right now.
Yeah, in theory, we've been there. There's people that say we haven't, but we've been there. They've decided now that at the poles of the moon, I want you to see how far NASA went with this. At the poles of the moon, they've seen crystals on telescopes and satellite photos that lead them to believe that there's more pockets of water on the moon than they originally thought, which, by the way, they originally thought there were pockets of water on the moon, but there weren't.
Yeah.
Okay, but they thought there were. But now they think that there's even more water than they originally thought there was when there wasn't.
I see what you're saying.
And they say that this is important because, now watch how far they go with this, people. It's important because it can provide drinking water for astronauts when they're on the moon. And it could be used to make rocket fuel. Now, only in the United States of America.
It's a hell of a pipeline from here to the moon.
Only in the United States. No, they want to put a pad site, and then you can refuel your rocket and go on.
No, but I'm saying to get the petroleum from here
It's
to
like
the moon.
a truck stop.
I mean, what happens if the pipeline breaks?
Yes.
How do you contain
How
that
do
in
you
space?
tether that? The only thing that could be more American than going to the moon, taking a vehicle, and leaving it there, littering on the moon. The only thing more American
Well, with no water, it's not rusting.
The only thing more American is to go there and build a refinery. And that's what we're planning on doing. 37 degrees in Frisco, according to Uncle Norm. First time we've seen Norm check in a while, and I don't know if that's because Facebook doesn't always show us or because Norm has been out.
Well, he checked in earlier, so it was 39. Now he's correcting himself.
Adam Sugar says, come on, man. I'm about the flour and the beef, not the chicken and the corn. I haven't seen Adam in a while. Sometimes, depending on where Adam's at, sometimes he's like really ripped. Sometimes he's a little fleshy. You know, sometimes he's the before photo.
Sometimes he's the flour and the beef.
You can always tell that there's an athlete of superior quality underneath, but sometimes he's a little fleshy.
He's a skinny Adam, he says. Is that skinny jeans, Adam? Trey Molina jumping in. Good morning to you, Trey.
Don't get Trey Molina.
I know my wife Cheryl's checking in. Let's see. Corey says, don't you think if they really went there the first time, they would have discovered water?
No doubt about it. And if they really
Well, hard to find it in a sound studio in Hollywood.
there is a legitimate thought there. It is interesting to me that I'll give you my statement on that. It's interesting to me that they went all the way to the moon, and I do believe they did take cores. I do think they drilled and took.
Yeah, because remember, you can't. They had to bring that stuff back, and you couldn't take a moon rock out into the Earth because who knows what you were exposing Earth to at that point.
Right. So here's my thought on the.
Richard King says we need to put a Veracruz on the moon.
Well, I want to put one down in Cabo San Lucas, call it VCS, Veracruz South, and that taco salad that you can buy here for $8.50, it's now $27.50 down there.
Clint Myers says, I heard Tesla's building a spaceship and there will be a charging station on the moon powered by moon water.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes perfect sense. I did hear the other day that there are several trucking companies working together to make a hydrogen-based driver of a generator that would create, you would be a hydrogen-based, all it would give off is steam, and it would run an electric motor that would allow you to pull large caravans of trailers, for like H-E-B or Walmart, whatever. They would pull those trailers with it. My thought on the moon landing being falsified is I guess I believe we went there. I'm just going to tell you. I'm telling you with absolute certainty. There is more computer power right here in this iPhone 11 than all the technology that was available on the planet at the time that we supposedly sent two people slingshot. We're going to slingshot them around the moon with the moon's gravity, and zippity-doo-dah, they're going to come right back and just come right through the atmosphere. Bingo. It's going to be great. Now, let me tell you something.
Christina Wise asked if moon rocks are like lava rocks, cursed if you move them.
The reality of the deal is they may not have falsified the moon landing, and I don't believe they did. But it was important enough that they would have. 1969, we were coming to the end of the decade. We were in a huge arms race and a political race with the Russians.
It's not that unfathomable when considering the government had conjured up a plan to carry out terrorist attacks on our own soil, kill people, blame Cuba so we could go kill Fidel Castro, absolutely, Operation 100%. Northwood. So,
absolutely, it was important enough that it would have been faked if it hadn't been done.
Here's what's going to happen when it's all said and done with this latest discovery of the crystals on the moon with the telescope. They're going to find out it was a little cold and those crystals were actually on the telescope because it was frost.
Right.
That's what's going to happen.
I think that's beautiful. See, we got a caller?
Yeah, we do.
Push a button. Who we got? Good morning.
Good morning, Wayne Carter.
That's true. You know what I look like? I look like I fell into a plate of enchiladas over in Veracruz and I couldn't get out. How are you, sir? Right? Exactly. Exactly. How are you doing? You good? Wait, didn't you just...
Well, if you had a little fat on the bones, you wouldn't be so cold.
Didn't you just have another baby? Oh, no. Well, I knew that. I knew Cody did. But so you still... Okay. There you go. Good for him. Hey, brother. Thanks, man. He just had to call and get a little rib.
Get a little dig on you.
Take a little dig on me. I deserve that.
Get a little rib. Can't see your ribs.
When I pick on Adam, you notice he's not in the room because he might go MMA on you. You don't know.
He's not even on the block because you couldn't outrun him.
No, could not outrun him. I didn't watch I don't watch UFC or MMA or something, but I was at Sancho's. We were in Cabo San Lucas, and there was MMA was on, and the Longhorn game, deservedly so, was on the 24-inch TV over in the corner, and the MMA was on the big 57
with the click dials.
Yeah, and the lines going through it. And this guy's sitting at the bar, and he says, anybody want any action on this fight? Anybody want any action on this fight? And I'm sitting there, and Don's going, no, you don't know. So I'm just watching these two guys warm up, and one's got a wig on, and he's acting kind of like a clown, and he's kind of, doing jabs at the camera and all that. The other guy's looks kind of Hispanic to me, and he's got a beard, and he's very focused and very serious. I told the guy, and I have no idea who either one of them are. No clue. I said, I'll take the guy on the left for $20.
The guy without the wig?
The guy without the wig. I said, I'll take the guy that seems serious for $20. The guy goes, okay, you're on. Well, it turns out the guy that I picked won, and he won handily. But it was this guy that had won, like, no kidding, like he was like 157-0, and he was like a 6-time Olympic gold medalist. I mean, I'm making those numbers up, but yeah, there you go. Anderson Khabib, yeah. He retired, and at the end, he was on the ground kissing the mat. It was just, I just got purely lucky. But I was looking at their preparation. I said, I'll take the guy on the left. I'll take the guy that's focused, not the guy that's climbing around with the camera.
Guy trying to be Gorgeous George?
Right. He had a huge, like a big, straight, blonde afro thing, looked like Gary Busey on the crack. I said, I'll take the other guy.
One day when we're hurting for content, I'll give you my Gary Busey story.
Can't wait.
Yeah. No, it's worth waiting for.
There you go.
Tell you what's not worth waiting for. Trash collection that never comes.
Oh, reach out today, 550-1826. White Trash Services. I came in the other day, and what I noticed about White Trash Services, when you see them on the road, courteous drivers. Courteous drivers, safe drivers. This driver passed a vehicle that was admittedly going about 45 miles an hour on 59, but immediately puts on his blinker, moves back into the right-hand lane. I went by, did my little flashers at him. He waved. No idea who it was. He had no idea who we were.
Well, here's what I like on the county roads. They're not one of these truck drivers who has to pull out in front of you when there's nobody behind you.
Right.
Right? I'm driving along and nobody behind me, and a truck will always pull out in front of me. 18-wheelers, small, 5-ton van, whatever. They always pull up.
Yeah.
Not white trash. They wait until they're
Very
not going to
courteous,
inconvenience anybody.
very safe.
Yep. And they can provide trash collection for you in Victoria County,
6
5
county
surrounding
region.
counties, Rockport, Holiday Beach. Give them a call today.
Reno, Nevada.
Start your service tomorrow.
Ski resorts. They've got it. We talked about Razor ID Solutions. Reach out also. Atzenoffer dealership since 1926. Victoria's dealer.
Atzenoffer.com.
Cadillac, Mazda, Mitsubishi, all the pre-owned. Paint and body shop. All service, all makes and models. Took T-Lat's car there last week. Got the oil changed. They said no problem. Done. A third of the cost of taking it to Corpus to the Mercedes dealer. A third.
And you saved all that time.
And I saved all the time. And I know exactly who did it. If I ever have a question,
Go right
I
back
go
to
right
it.
back to them. It ain't rocket science. They're just better at it than everybody. They've been doing it for almost 100 years here in Victoria.
I've noticed they've been pushing their truck cab and chassis. So
Yeah. People that are building custom vehicles.
for the winter Texans that decide to winter in Texas.
Yep. I ran into Dwayne Proctor yesterday.
Did you?
Said, tell you hi. 550-4744. Dwayne Proctor is GDP Techs. Guy Dwayne Proctor, GDP.
550-4744. Enough said. So we finish the breaks and then wrap up the show because we're almost at our next break anyway.
Well, there you go. So Uncle
It's
Much
been a
Barbecue.
free-form Tuesday for us today.
I went yesterday. Now, don't judge, okay? Because I was trying to kind of get back healthy.
Did you go in?
Oh, yeah.
Take it home.
I went in, T-Light and I went in. We got what you call a 3-meat plate, but what we did was double brisket and sausage.
What did T-Lot get?
No, that's what we split
Oh, okay.
with double green beans.
Just checking.
Split it.
Just checking.
It ends up being, we split it. It was plenty of food.
1 for you, 3 for me. Is that how they split?
Pretty much 2 to 1.
Okay.
But you don't fight T-Light over that last piece of brisket because she's going to get it.
Well, that's all you gave her. The
That's
last piece.
The last piece. It was moist, though. It was great. The brisket was fantastic.
They've stopped asking me if I want that leaner. Then
It was super,
no, never want it.
super duper. I tell you what, it's not going to happen. You could go to other places. Why would you do it? I'm telling you, there's other places, but why would you go?
Adam Sugar says back healthy.
Yeah, no.
As if he went back to the 70s.
Beef, baby. Beef loaded. Come on. Then I hit the gym last night. Come on, Adam. I'm not MMA ready. But Uncle Muck's Barbecue also, for your next catering event, reach out. Cheryl uses them. 920-6803. You want to call?
Your EKG ready?
You want to go? Well, cut me. Why am I sweating? You need to call Cheryl at Gray Bar Design for your next party, your next event, your next bar mitzvah, your next
Whatever.
quinceañera, wedding, family reunion. A family reunion,
Christmas party.
great party. She'll let you take all the credit.
So you can turn it into a nice winter wonderland for you.
920-6803. That's Gray Barn Design. Reach out to Cheryl today. Went services, went electrical, went plumbing, whatever you need. Solar panels with battery backups, Generac generators, Cummins, Kohler, Briggs & Stratton. They go on and on. They've got all the brands. They've got everything you need. They've got all the capacity. Commercial jobs, residential jobs, remodels, new construction.
Old construction.
Crazy to build a house today and not budget in your own home generator.
Yeah, it really is.
I know you are.
And it's affordable.
Yeah. You
Way more affordable. I remember when I first started looking into them, price of a like a new Mazda 3. Not anymore. They're way down.
No. Now more like a Yugo.
Well, not quite, but close.
It's more like a you don't go.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
You don't have to go. You get electricity.
USA Concrete Coatings, Charlie Garcia. Remember the number 578-HOME. 578-HOME. Charlie Garcia will come out. They'll clean your concrete. They'll fill all the cracks. Then they'll put a nice polyurethane coating on it that's stronger than any epoxy. They color it. They put the flex in there. You can make it your cowboy cave. You can do whatever you want. Increase the value of your home. And there you go. You'll be glad you called 578-HOME, USA Concrete Coatings. So they're talking about weight classes now, and they're talking about Brad Miner says he'd be out of every weight class.
He said you'd have to fight in an age division to fight MMA.
So you've got MMA. I'm in the 9mm category. I'm in the 9mm category. I don't fight anymore. I just take care of business.
I thought you meant 9th millennium category.
Right.
Adam Sugar with a serious question. Are you all worried about what the future holds with confirming justice only on voting on party lines? You know, I'm concerned about this in a lot of ways. And maybe this leads into a good conversation to wrap the show up with, because I think it might take this long. But yeah, I am somewhat concerned with this because I don't think there's any room for what would be termed moderate anymore.
Right.
But I'm not. But if everything that they say about Amy Coney Barrett is true and correct, I think I like the fact that she's a constitutionalist.
Should they all be?
Well, you would think that would be the way to go with it.
Isn't that the rule? You want to determine if the Constitution is being upheld?
But it seems everything that we're doing in Washington right now is a party line vote.
No doubt.
You know, so whoever holds the House, whoever holds the Senate is going to get what they want.
Well, let me lead you to the path that I want you to come back to and walk. Isn't it sad that the party of John F. Kennedy is absolutely no longer the party of John F. Kennedy? He was a lifetime NRA member. He was absolutely pro-life. He was absolutely would not have put up with all this pork and all of these bills. And you look at it and you're like, where do we go? So many people in America simply want to see what's in it for them. They want to use the Democratic Party to provide that for them. And they seem to believe that the resources are truly endless. How do you get people to ask once again, you okay?
Yeah, I will be.
What they can do. Sorry, folks, Ash just had an aneurysm.
I tried to suppress a sneeze.
It came out your mouth. Interesting. Well, better than some of the other alternatives.
Yes.
How do you get people to quit asking what their country can do for them and ask what they can do for their country? John F. Kennedy would be appalled at the Democratic Party of today.
Adam Sugar says, what can this country do for me? Is a long way from JFK. And
no doubt about it.
Well, and 47-year pro Joe Biden, and Breitbart News, Peter Schweitzer, who's a best-selling author, has dug this one up. Because I want to get to this, because I think it's important to get this out there 8 days before the vote or whatever. No, a week before the vote, right? 7 days now.
Right.
Randy Langston going all Joe Biden here. That's not what you can do, not what you can do for your country. Ask what your country can do for you. You know the rest. Blah, blah,
or
blah,
something.
Or something.
Yeah.
But when Joe Biden is concerned, it's what can your country do for my family?
Wow, this is scary, folks.
Frank Biden, one of his sons. I mean, we all know Hunter's mess, but I think Hunter was the smokescreen for his other sons to kind of slip through the cracks or slip through the smoke undetected. And I credit Peter Schweitzer because he's done a lot of good investigative journalism on this, but also a lot of other things.
He'll be dead.
Probably. Joe Biden's son, Frank, happened to head up a bunch of companies that just happened to get a bunch of government loans and grants and money during Joe Biden's vice presidency. In fact, some of the people that were involved in the companies with him got to go sit at the White House with Barack Obama. Frank Biden didn't do any of this prior to Daddy becoming vice president. The other son, James, very similar story. Heads up companies that get a lot of money for a startup healthcare company run by a Biden who had absolutely no experience in healthcare. I mean, we're talking tens of millions, maybe into the hundreds of millions of dollars that the Biden family has co-opted, coerced, and swindled from American people. No bidding, no nothing. Just here you go. Dad's in charge of the programs for alternative energy in Costa Rica and other countries, Jamaica. Why are we involved in that? I don't know. But Joe Biden's family making millions of dollars off the backs of taxpayers in this country. Crazy. And yet, this is all perfectly fine for the Democrats. They have no problem with this. All they can say is, well, Donald Trump's kids are in his businesses.
Yeah, but
key point, his businesses.
Right. They're businesses he owned as a businessman in the private sector. They're not businesses that he propped up with governmental funds.
Well, he might have. Who knows? But he didn't get them because his dad was vice president. So, I mean, it's the media doesn't care. The media does not care. They're not running with this. They're not even talking about it. If this was Donald Trump's family making tens, if not hundreds of millions of U.S. taxpayer dollars, because this is the other way the government likes to spin things. Well, we'll spend government money. It's not government money. It's your money. It's my money. It's our money. But if this was Donald Trump, boy, oh boy, we'd be hearing all sorts of things on this, and we're not.
I haven't read all this yet. It's out there. You can Google up this deal about Ashley Biden's diary. In it, she details. I have problems with. I don't know when you know when something's creepy and when it's not. I don't think that. For example, if you're a dad and you're in the shower and mama hands you the 18-month-old daughter so you can rub her down, clean her up, and give her back, certainly nothing inappropriate about that. If she hands you the 18-year-old daughter, then there's a problem there. Somewhere in between is this age of when you should just have some respect for the child and some respect for yourself. But this Biden girl talks about having showers with her dad as a little girl. I don't know how much of that is. At what age? Was she 2? Was she 3? She remembers that. Was she 15? I don't know. But she apparently yesterday said, I can't deny that book you have is my diary. So she doesn't deny the book. One thing about Hunter's kids or Biden's kids is they don't just like the Bidens aren't denying any of this.
No.
They're just saying, oh, it's just politics. Just let it go away. They don't say that's a lie. I mean, Joe does, but Joe doesn't know where he's at.
Joe doesn't know where he's at, but yeah.
Oh, Tom Ennis, world's greatest neighbor and instantaneous fact checker, says you need to correct Ash that Frank and James are Joe's brothers, not his sons. So same problem. Now we have adult people that
have no clue.
That have no clue how to operate with ethics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Jeff Fonseca says, I'm ready for this election to be over. I couldn't agree more. I do think it is over. I personally think that this huge showing of early voting is Republicans and conservatives who have just had it, and they couldn't wait to go vote. I don't believe it's Democrats.
I don't believe we're going to see staggering numbers of voters. I think the early voters are just people that would have voted, but earlier this time around.
Fair.
I don't know that we're going to see a staggering rush to the polls. Maybe in Philadelphia, where they don't allow early voting, as we've learned yesterday, or in Pennsylvania. But when all is said and done, we might see a slight uptick over the numbers that voted last election. But I don't think we're going to see 85% of the country voting.
See Frank, the top fan Mejia here. He labeled himself a top fan.
Hey.
No, you're not, Frank. Did you see the picture I put up of Frank on Facebook? Did you see Coach O?
I saw Coach O. I saw Frank. Frank looked a little shorter in that picture than
Coach O was down there. He was looking for a scrappy little safety in Mexico. Go Tigers.
Do you hear? Yeah, Steve Kidder points out. Do you hear Joe Biden the other day thought he was running against George Bush?
Hey, folks, I'm sorry. That's something I'm going to have to ask our guest about on Thursday. Is like, how does that make you feel? Is that just politics? Is he a little addled? And if he is addled, does it bother you? Are you ready? Are you truly ready to make Kamala Harris the first person to drop out of about an 80-person Democratic slate because she had no support? Are you ready to make her the first woman president of the United States?
She was polling around 1%.
Is she worthy of being even on the slate? If you're Bernie Sanders, how do you feel about Kamala Harris being the vice president? Now, I get it's not Bernie's call. I get that. How do you feel? How do his supporters feel that have thrown their allegiance to Joe Biden? You're telling me Kamala's the best you got? I mean, Willie said it wasn't that good.
Christina Wise says, which George Bush, the one still here or the original? I don't think Joe even knows, to be honest. Adam Daughter says they want to get there and get their votes in before the rioting starts November 3rd. You know,
no kidding there.
Brings up a thought that I've had, because Antifa is just an idea, not an organization, yet they seem to be well organized when the idea shows up somewhere.
When the bricks show up. This riot brought to you by Acme Brick.
Well, is that going to be their ploy? Are they going to go and start rioting and disrupting polling locations?
Well, if they do that, I think you shoot them. Seriously. If people disrupt polling locations, to me, that's an act of war against our country. I just shoot them in the street. No problem about it. No problem about it. No guilt felt. If you're disrupting a polling place, pap, 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 send the meat wagon, get them out of here. No problem. One of the very few things that it's fundamental to our country. To me, it's an act of war against our country for you to disrupt a polling place. Just shoot you right there in the street.
I don't know that I would have a problem with that either.
Yep. By the way, I'm going to tell you something that you might not expect to hear from me. I'm convinced, sadly, that both those Bushes were just as dirty as the Clintons and everybody else. No doubt about it. Dirty, neck deep, involved. I bet you George H.W. knew a lot more about the Iran-Contra deal than he went on about. I'm telling you that George W. was vindictive on his daddy's behalf. And
where were the weapons of mass destruction?
They didn't exist. Now,
I think that was sort of what did it for me with George, with W. But
yeah,
I do want to pass a sad note on to the province of Alberta. City of Edmonton lost a sports legend yesterday, Joey Moss, 57 years old. Here was a young man that had Down syndrome. Wayne Gretzky was dating his sister at the time. Knew Joey as a young man. Brought him to the Edmonton Oilers organization. Said, "Hey, here's a guy that needs a chance." He became the clubhouse attendant for the Oilers for I think 30 years.
So buddies with Wayne Gretzky.
Wayne Gretzky would fly him to different things. Wayne Gretzky, whenever Joey was honored, Wayne Gretzky would take time to fly back to Edmonton to be involved in the ceremonies. I mean, even though he went on and married Janet Jones but never ever lost the relationship, the love that he had for Joey Moss and always took care of him, made sure that he was never going to be without. I mean, the things that Wayne Gretzky did for
It says a lot about both of them.
It really does. But Alberta lost a true sports legend. He broke down barriers for those with Down syndrome. He really allowed, because I mean, think about it. In the 80s, you know, there wasn't a lot of opportunity for people with disabilities and afflictions like Down syndrome. He broke a lot of barriers, erased stereotypes, and not only, and then the Edmonton Eskimos, the Canadian Football League, gave Joey a chance in the off season of hockey. He would go over and do the same sorts of things, and all the teammates loved him. He was on the sideline. He was the biggest cheerleader. There's videos of Joey Moss. He was a fervent patriot, loved Canada, loved hockey, loved sports. He would sing the national anthem in front of 18,000 people.
It's awesome.
Just, you know, and all because Wayne Gretzky saw something in him and gave him a chance. And Joey Moss passed away yesterday at the age of 57, and it really touched me yesterday because I didn't know Joey. My younger brother knows the family. I never got a chance to know him, but it always felt like I knew him. From the stories that were told, the great things, the love that athletes had for him, and knowing some athletes that knew him, it's just an amazing story. And Wayne Gretzky was the key component.
That's awesome.
Of that story and letting Joey Moss become who he was. He was inducted to the Alberta Sports Hall of Fame. Just a phenomenal story. If you can go read the stories, I shared one last night. It doesn't really dive into the depths of the Joey Moss story, but if there's ever a movie that deserves to be made, it's this one. And just a phenomenal young man.
Maybe that is a great idea. I'll tell you this too, folks. One thing you can make a note of, on a smaller note, on a lesser note, none of us are Wayne Gretzky. None of us have the resources of a great one. But let me tell you, you can be the guy. You can be the gal that makes a difference in somebody else's life. Look for that opportunity. Keep your head up and see that opportunity, and know that you can be the Wayne Gretzky to your own Joey Moss. So think about that as you go through your day.
Prayers going out to the Moss family. They've had a tough year.
Absolutely.
We'll see y'all tomorrow.
All right. Have a great day, folks.
Bye, folks.
Bye-bye.